I always love that part. All right. So, again, welcome to growing your farm and food business. And the first thing we're going to talk about is a business plan. So, like I said, with K Card, we really focus on that business planning aspect. And I know we're not in a room all together, but you should be able to like raise your hands virtually. So, how many of you have ever used a set of instructions to do something? So, maybe you were building a shelf, or maybe you were using a recipe. There was some sort of instructions that you had to follow, and to have this like finished product. Good job. Thank y'all very much for raising your little virtual hands or giving me a little virtual thumbs up. So if you want to, and you don't have to, but just how did that, if you did not have those instructions, how would that have gone for you? You can also give a big old thumbs down or a thumbs up if it went well or if it didn't go well, or if if I were to try to bake a cake without instructions, I'm going to tell you right now, it would be a big old thumbs down. I would not. Yeah, there's lots of little funny emojis coming through on that. Yes, it would not go well. I might have something edible, maybe by the end of it, but I'm not going to guarantee that. So using those instructions is always so much better. Truly, that's how I look at business planning. Whenever you have this dream, this dream is kind of up here, it's in the sky, and that's your ultimate goal. That's what you want your farm business to look like. Well, how do you get there? If there is this set of instructions that you can follow, you're going to be a little bit more successful. So that's what we use the business plan for. I went the wrong way. Sorry about that. Other reasons why you might need a business plan, other than just trying to keep on that path that you want to be on, are things like, maybe you're looking for a grant, and that grant requires you to have a business plan. Maybe you're going to the bank because you're looking for a loan. The bank just isn't going to trust what your words are. They want to see things down on paper. They want to see that you have a well thought out plan. And that's what a business plan is. A business plan is essentially your set of goals. I love this quote. Greg Reed was a football player. Maybe he still is a football player. I'm not really sure. Go Sports. A dream written down with a date becomes a goal broken down into steps becomes a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. And that's really why we're all here, right? Like, your business is a dream, and we want that dream to come true. I'm not a dream crusher. I don't want your dreams to fail. I want to help you with those processes to get those things that you want. I want them to come to fruition. Okay. Well, when we start talking business plan, immediately images of a huge document come to mind, right? It's this like huge 50-page thing that takes so much time and it's way too complicated. It can be, I'm going to be honest, but it really isn't most of the time. Most of the time, it's a fairly simple document, and it has these 4 components. We're going to break those components down pretty quickly. But some businesses may never have like a 50-page business plan. Some business plans may be 2 pages. As long as it has all the components in it, that's what matters. So let's talk about those. All right, so first is the description of your business. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's the simplistic version of who and what and how you're doing things. This is sort of a summary. It is also part of that why. Why are you doing this? So it can be It can include your mission statement if you have one. If you don't have one, I highly suggest maybe looking into that. But it's kind of the, like I said, the who, the how, the what of what your business is. My boss kind of always says that in a business plan, when a funder is looking at your business plan, they look at the front page, which is a lot of this information, and the back page, which is the financial information. If they like what they see on those 2 pages, then they go on to the other pages. So these pages are pretty important. I'm going to skip talking about goals for just a second because we're going to come back to talking about goals. The biggest section of a business plan is the marketing section. Now, typically when I start talking about a marketing plan, the immediate first thing that comes to people's mind is, oh, well, I post on Facebook. And that is part of a marketing plan. That is the promotion strategies part. When we're talking about more of that marketing section, what we're talking about is more research into your product. So let's say, for example, that my business is Terrence Tomatoes. And, you know, I'm in Barron County, and I'm going to be the best tomato farmer in Barron County. Okay. Well, that's all well and good. But what if my neighbor is also a tomato farmer, and their plans are to be the best tomato farmer in Barron County? And we're both going to sell to schools. We're both going to sell to the local hospital. We're both going to sell to restaurants. That sort of put a shadow on my plan, right? So part of a marketing plan is helping you ask the questions of what else is out there, what is competition for you, what are maybe some partnerships for you, what does the market look like. And interesting, I don't know if we have any mushroom folks in here, but one interesting thing that we found during COVID, for example, is that a lot of restaurants were purchasing more mushrooms to go with their to-go orders because they found that it was making things taste better during a travel for to-go items. So that's a really cool thing to know about mushrooms if that's what you're producing. And that's a little more argument for, you know, your product. It's unique, it's in demand. So that's what this marketing section looks for. It also can look for, you know, what should be your pricing strategies. You know, we always want to make sure that you are not underselling yourself, that you get paid for your tomatoes or whatever you are selling. But, you know, has to be realistic. You know, I can't go to the farmer's market and say, I'm going to sell my tomatoes for $1 million. That's unrealistic. Nobody's going to buy them, right? So, so we look at all of those things. The marketing plan does tend to be the thickest section, because that is kind of where we do a lot of this research, as you can see. One more thing that I will say about competition. I am very much, I don't know if any of you have been in webinars or whatnot with Brett Wolf with crop diversification, but he said something once that has really stuck with me. And it was something like rising tides raise all boats. And so with competition, just because someone may be a competitor does not mean they can't also be a partner. So we can also look at possibilities in this section about, you know, ways that those people can help you. So competition, we use that word and sometimes there's bad, you know, connotations with it, but it doesn't have to be that way. The next section is the management and operation plan. The management plan is basically who is doing all of this work. If it is just you, this section becomes very easy. But maybe you have employees, maybe you have help, maybe you are a couple, or maybe you are a family that does things. And, I worked with one family that was like, well, we don't have any employees, but they had a mom, they had a son, they had a daughter, and they had the mom, dad, son, and daughter. They all four worked for the company. I was like, no, you've got 4 people that work here, and they all 4 do different things. So what are those 4 things that you all do? And so you're just wanting to line out who are the owners of this business, and what are they responsible for? Who are the employees, or who are the people who help this business? What are they responsible for? And here we can also, maybe you don't have any employees, but you want employees. We can also look at, in the future, if it's a goal to have an employee in 3 years, maybe we look at what that employee would look like in this section. In 3 years, we're going to employ a marketing manager, and they're going to take care of XYZ things. So you can also put that in this section. And any trainings, relevant trainings, evaluations that you do, we would want to put here as well. In the operation plan, this is really the how. So whenever we start asking some of these questions, people are like, well, why do you want to know how big my barn is? We need to show what you are doing, how it's working. And this is really sort of a time for you to show that you know what you're doing. It's your argument for, I can raise these tomatoes. I have the equipment to do it. Maybe I don't have all of the equipment. Maybe I need one piece of equipment, but look at all this other stuff that I've already put my money into. So often what we run into is people will call us, and I don't mean this offensive at all, but people will call us and they'll say, well, I need a grant for land. I need a grant for a tractor. I need a grant for a high tunnel. I need a grant for cows. I need a grant for, just everything. And we want to help you find grants that are relevant to you. But the reality is that there's not a grant out there for everything. I know that that's kind of a belief out there sometimes. I myself was under the same impression at certain points in my life. But there's not a grant out there for everything. There's not a grant out there for everyone. So in this section, when we are doing this, when we're lining it out, this really helps us see your whole picture. Because, and we're going to talk about the financial side of things on Thursday night. So tonight is one section. You'll hear different things on Thursday night. So it's not the same thing both nights. It's 2 separate agendas. And Thursday night, we're going to talk more about the financial side. But if we can show, like if we are helping you for a loan or for a grant, if we can show that you have already put your own money towards these things, that helps your argument. So that's some of this listing out is what that is. What equipment do you have? What facilities do you have? How much land do you have? And what is your process? Here we're also going to dive more into key regulations that you might fall under. Let's say for me, for example, if I'm bottling tomato sauce, how am I doing that? Am I doing that under a microprocessing, home-based processing? Am I doing that at a commercial kitchen and doing it on a commercial license? How am I doing that? Okay, I'm going to shift gears for just a second and talk about goals. Y'all, goals are one of my favorite things to talk about. I know that makes me sound like the biggest nerd ever, and it's okay. You can think that. Just think it to yourself. Don't say it out loud. But before I start talking real nerdy about goals, one thing I forgot to mention, if at any point y'all have questions or anything, we're going to be monitoring the chat. So drop questions into the chat. we will be monitoring them. And after each speaker goes, we will kind of pose questions to the speaker that you all put in the chat. So please feel free to put things in there. Sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier. Okay, sorry about that. So now goals, being real nerdy about goals. I think I'm nerdy about goals because I have seen how goals can help in all aspects of our life, especially our businesses. So with goals, I think often what I see in business plans, they will put, all right, yeah, I want to have the best tomatoes in Barron County. Well, that's cool. Okay, that's a goal. It's a very big and very broad goal. I have no way of like managing my expectations with that goal. Okay. So when we're talking about goals, what we want to see are what we call SMART goals. Don't worry, I will never call you stupid. It's not that kind of talk. But a SMART goal is one that has all of these components. And you all may have heard this before, but this really, really helps me when I'm thinking about, okay, if I want to be, if the pie in the sky goal is I want to be the best tomatoes in Barron County, well, what are the small targets of goals that's going to get me to here eventually? So that's kind of what we're looking at. So for example, if I want to be the best tomatoes in Barron County, I may think to myself, well, what's going to help me get to people thinking that I'm the best? Well, maybe customer service is it. You know, maybe I want people to think that my customer service is unparalleled. So maybe with that, I think, okay, well, if I want to have unparalleled customer service, what do I need to do for my customers? Well, I need to help them understand how to use my product. Okay, so maybe I make cute little recipe cards for customers that buy a dozen tomatoes at the farmer's market. Every customer that comes through and buys a dozen of my tomatoes, they get my grandmother's recipe for tomato pie. And maybe on the back of that recipe card, it has my Facebook linked to it. And so maybe what I do is I say, hey, if you make my grandmother's tomato pie, tag me in a picture of it on Facebook. And if you do, I'll give you a free tomato next week. So I've given them a tool to use my product. I've used that tool to also further marketing. And they think it's fun too. Like, okay, so now maybe out of 10 of those people, so let's say I make a goal for myself, at the next farmer's market, I'm going to give 10 recipe cards to customers. And so maybe 3 of those people actually post a picture of the tomato pie on Facebook. Then the next week, maybe we take a picture at the market where I'm giving them their free tomato from posting my grandmother's tomato pie recipe. So what I've done is I've set a goal of giving out 10 recipe cards at the next farmer's market. That's very specific, right? 10 tomato pie recipes at the next farmer's market. It was measurable. You know, at the end of that farmer's market, I could say, do I still have 10 recipe cards or do I have 3? I can measure how many of those went out. And that would be achievable. I didn't say that I was going to hand out, 500 recipe cards. I said 10. Only you are going to know what numbers work for you, what's going to be achievable. We want it to be a little high, but we want it to be achievable. And is it relevant? I didn't give out recipes for zucchini pie. I gave recipes for tomato pie because I sell tomatoes. And it's time bound. So I didn't say, at some of the markets, I'm going to give out some recipe cards. It was very specific at 10 at the next farmer's market. So what happens then is you get excited about it. I gave out 10. 3 of those people posted it on Facebook. It feels like a win, right? So then you can check that off. And doesn't it feel good to check something off of a list? How good does that feel? How many of you write something you've already done down on a list just so you can check it off? Yes, it happens. We do that, and that's great. So it feels like a win. It feels good to do that. And so what you want is a list of things that you're going to do, and that's where your instructions come. This is truly, your goals are truly that set of instructions that get you to that end product. You do want to make sure some of them are short, like this one that I just said, and that some of them are more long-term goals. So here's a couple of examples of some short-term and an example of a long-term goal. And again, these are very specific. There's things that we can measure about them. These are all related to sales or capacity, production, things like that. It's whatever you start with, that big goal, the one that is the ultimate goal, and you just kind of stair-step things down. And we can help you with that. All of these things are things that we can hold your hand through, and help you figure out and help you write that up. We're not here to just tell you, hey, you go do that and good luck. We can be right there with you, helping you with that. And we're free. We don't charge you anything for that. That's a free service that we provide. All right. Now, let's see. I am going to, so the next person is the wonderful Sharon Spencer. And I'm going to take just a second to give her a spotlight. And I'm going to give her slide control. So give me just a second. I have to find her in the list.
Hey, it's the Taryn and the Sharon show again.
Always. I am going to go ahead and mute myself and take it away, Sharon.
Hey guys, well, what a great turnout. I keep watching the numbers go up and up. So we're at 45 folks. And so that's always great to see. And so glad you guys can join us tonight. Yeah, K-Card is such a valuable resource, and we throw them out there a lot. So I think I've got Taryn and Spencer and them on speed dial, but Kara and all of them, they just do an absolutely amazing job. So that's always one of my first references when we've got folks that's needing information and everything. So I always throw K-Card out there, and K-Card did not pay me to say that. So, well, good evening. I am Sharon Spencer. I am with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, and okay, Taryn, my arrow buttons are not working. I guess maybe there we go. I click on yours. Never mind. I'm sorry. All right. So I am with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. I'm in the Office of Marketing. And so I do the direct farm marketing division. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do a little bit later, but talk about some of the programs that we've got. Under promotion and development, we've got the Kentucky Proud program. Hopefully everybody that is on here is a member of the Kentucky Proud program. It is a program that is absolutely free. It is the state marketing program for agriculture here in Kentucky. So anything that is grown, raised, or manufactured, produced that has a direct farm impact can be a Kentucky Proud member. So we have a lot of our folks, from our farmers markets to our vendors at the markets to our agritourism folks to also even some of our restaurants and everything, are Kentucky Proud members. We've got close to almost 7,200 active members out of 100, and all 120 counties have a member. It is free. We've been very blessed because the Kentucky Proud program has been supported by the Kentucky Agriculture Development Fund. So we're very thankful for that, to promote our Kentucky Proud program and keep that program free for our members. If you have any questions on that, I will let you know though, if you are a Kentucky Proud member, please make sure you go into the website, so www.kyproud.com, and renew your membership for 2024. Once you do get that renewed, you will get an email telling that you have been approved, and you can then print out your 2024 membership. And it's hard to believe we're already 2024, but you can go on and print your membership out in case you need that for your farmers markets, or you want to display that and put that on either a website or Facebook page. But that's always a big plus. And so be proud of that, because we have so many consumers that are looking for that Kentucky Proud logo. So along with Kentucky Proud, we have two other marketing programs that goes along with that. One is Appalachia Proud. So if you are in one of those 54 counties that are listed down below or on this screen, you will automatically become a member of Appalachia Proud. We had a commissioner that was traveling across the state, and many folks in Eastern Kentucky said we wanted something that was going to make us stand out a little bit different than what just a normal Kentucky Proud member was. So that was kind of the birth of Appalachia Proud. So you can use either logo. You can use the Kentucky Proud logo, or you can use the Appalachia Proud logo that is up there in the right-hand corner of the screen. On that, we've got about 2,500 members for that program. If you sign up for Kentucky Proud, you fall in one of these counties, you will automatically become an Appalachia Proud member, and it's up to you whether or not which one that you want to use. And anytime you have any questions, I don't know, Taryn, I think maybe you all may be reviewing that. I see something down there, but please, anytime, just throw a question or something into me. Another program that I'm very proud of is our Homegrown by Heroes program. This program is open for our active military. It's also open for our retired veterans. We do require some documentation from you, because we do want to make for sure that we verify your military status. We've got close to 300 members in this program. And along with this program, there is a logo on the left-hand side at the top of the screen. That is the logo that you can use if you choose to be a Homegrown by Heroes. You've sent your documentation in and you've been accepted into the program. You can use that to distinguish yourself, your farming operation, as a Homegrown by Hero. But part of the Homegrown by Heroes program, sorry, I got distracted. I was reading the comment. Something, just check the Kentucky Proud website. I'll have to read into that. But along with the Homegrown by Heroes, we are partners in with KCARD, the Sheep and Goat Development Office, as well as the Kentucky Horticulture Council, on what is called the Kentucky Ag Vets. This program has been a really cool partnership with those folks. And just to talk to some active military, we actually work, KCARD and myself visit Fort Campbell at least once a month, if not twice a month. They have what's called a career service path, and they have briefings and discuss some opportunities and everything for folks that's getting ready to get out of the military. What we want to do is we want to recruit them into agriculture. We want to keep them here in Kentucky. We want to keep them into agriculture. So we've got a mentorship where they can work with other producers and other farmers to go through with like cattle lots, vegetable production, even some of your technical offices, such as maybe ag finance. So when we go in and talk about agriculture, it's so much more than just farming. So we try to get them involved, and two, just a networking opportunity between our Homegrown by Heroes, members of the Ag Vets program, and anybody else. We have happy hours. We have educational sessions like what you all are joining tonight. And so that's really kind of made a difference of just getting information out there and just trying to get folks to stay into agriculture and just keep them here in Kentucky. So talking a little bit about some of our Kentucky Proud promotion that we do have a branding and advertising. And so with me being in the Office of Marketing, I work very closely with our Kentucky Proud folks of doing marketing campaigns. We know when we start throughout the season, especially like with our farmers markets, we've got to slow down. We've got a slow time and everything for our farmers markets, usually about when school starts in August. And that's also National Farmers Market Week. And so we try to step it up a little bit more for our farmers markets and do a little bit more advertising, a little bit more promotion to try and get some attention and everything to the markets. We also have where we do a fall harvest. So along with our pumpkin patch and a lot of our farms, we do a lot of campaigns for them during the holidays. Right now, during the holidays, we try to support and say buy local, support local, Christmas trees. So it's kind of neat getting to move into all of the different seasons, but really promoting our farmers. One of the big things you'll see on the screen was meat and our meat producers. That was something that we really pushed too during COVID. During COVID, what happened? You went to the grocery store and shelves were bare. And so that turned a lot of our consumers directly to our farmers and increased sales. It turned consumers to our farms because they could socially distance. So not only did it didn't have a reverse effect that we thought it may have, but more of a positive. It actually sent customers to our producers. So we were really excited about that. And then also to our meat producers. And so which is what we want. We want that the direct farm impact and everything for our producers. So talking about direct farm marketing in my division that I work with, I work directly with the agritourism, the farmers markets, and our CSAs. So our agritourisms here in Kentucky, we try to encourage folks to come to Kentucky and not only just visit some of our tourism sites, but also reach out to a lot of our different farms. We've got a lot of different farming operations, our wineries, our distilleries, just to bring people in. And I know some of our Christmas tree farms and everything for this winter. I'm so excited. So many of them has already sold their limit of what they needed to sell and everything for this year. And they had closed almost right after they opened there at Thanksgiving. So, you know, sometimes that's a hard thing to have, but we also have some of our on-farm markets and some of our Kentucky Farm Bureau certified farm markets that's staying open through the winter months. I know we've got a couple of them that is linking in and having Santa Claus and having festival activities. Down in the corner, you will see a reindeer. That is a true reindeer. That was Muloff. Muloff was at the reindeer farm there in Bowling Green. Sad to report that we have lost Muloff. I actually get to see him, and it's really cool to watch the kids see reindeers and just think of Christmas. And so our agritourism folks have really stepped up. We've got over 600 agritourism locations. That number is continuing to grow, because we have got so many folks that is moving to Kentucky. And anytime we go to any of these trainings, we find that we've got so many folks that has moved here from Colorado, California, even Missouri, and folks moving to Kentucky. And the part that excites me the most is a lot of them are young farmers, and a lot of them are young individuals, and a lot of them are wanting to farm. So real excited about getting the new faces and everything coming to Kentucky and getting them into the farming operation. One thing that many people doesn't know, when Miss Kentucky is crowned, she becomes a member of our Kentucky Proud, Kentucky Department of Agriculture staff. So she's a spokesperson for Kentucky Proud. And somebody says, well, you know, that's kind of unusual, or that's a little bit different. The thing is, when Miss Kentucky goes out, she has her own social media and everything that everybody follows her. That's a total different crowd than what we would get at our farmers markets and our agritourism locations. And so the more people that you can reach out, the more people that you can talk about agriculture here in Kentucky, and just that education component and everything to it has made a difference. All the ladies that you see on the screen, they have just been such a huge plus to the Kentucky Proud program, as well as to our farmers markets and our agritourism locations, and not to mention everything else that we do in ag. But Alex Franke will probably go down. She is the second one from the left. It looks like she's got a video camera there. She will probably go down in history because she served Miss Kentucky for 2 years because of it was COVID. And she got bored after her first year and she wanted to do something different. And she started videotaping, and she went out and did marketing for agriculture. And she went out to our roadside markets. She went out to our on-farm markets, our farmers markets. And so just to get that different public look was a really big plus. You will see over here on the right-hand side, that is little Lane McCall, who is Fran McCall, if anybody knows Fran with Kentucky Farm Bureau. That is her son and their rabbits that they show. But we've got Miss Mallory Hudson. She is our new Miss Kentucky for this year, and she's just jumped right on board, and she's real excited about going to the farmers markets. And Hannah Edlin in the red shirt, she actually went to the farmers markets and did a lot of cooking and sampling at the markets. And so really enjoy having their input and their outlook and just their followers and everything that follows along. Community supported agriculture is a CSA program. That is where the consumer actually contracts directly with our producers. The producers will promise them a weekly share of products, of seasonal products. The thing with that is it's seasonal eating. Producers will get capital to where they have money up front and they may not have to borrow as much. The thing is they have to deliver whatever set basket shares or anything that they have to their customers. But the thing is the consumers, the customers, they learn about where their food comes from. They put a face on the food. They get to talk to the farmer. A lot of times these CSA operations will have a year-end potluck and bring people out onto the farm, or they may even have a thing come out on the farm and work a day. So it's always interesting to have that connection, because your food, in order to get from the farm to the table, many times when you get at a grocery store, the food's going to travel over 1,500 miles to get to the farm, to get from the farm to your table. At our farmers markets, at our CSAs, most of the time, these are your neighbors. And these are either picked the night before or first thing that morning. So the short time that you have, I don't have to tell, most of these folks that are on this call are our farmers and producers and does such an amazing job. So I don't have to tell you all that. But it's a great experience for them to get a CSA to where they can go out and they can actually learn where their food comes from, and just to kind of get a little bit of a touch and everything. So we have partnered with Bluegrass Farm to Table, Kentucky Horticulture Council, Oak. They have been such a great benefit to work with and to offer our CSA program. We have a CSA virtual fair in the spring and summer. We also have one in the fall and winter. So if you all are not a part, or you do not have CSA March on Your Kentucky Proud, please reach out to me, or at the bottom, you'll see Kate Hamilton. Kate is our contact for the CSA. So just reach out to her if you've got any questions on that. Farmers markets, one of my favorite subjects and everything. We've got 174 farmers markets in Kentucky last year. We had 100, well, not last year, still this year for 2023. I've been working so much in 2024, I'm already thinking next year. But we've got 115 counties out of 120 counties that actually host a farmers market. Some counties have more than just one. Over 2,700 vendors, if not more, participate. Some of these numbers are down just a little bit on our vendors, talking to folks throughout the year and just asking, how has the market been? Have you noticed anything different? During COVID, it did affect some of our markets. We did lose some of our good producers to the COVID virus. We also had some that just decided that they just wanted to retire. But we also had some that decided they wanted to go back to the farm and just sell directly from the farm, just due to the fact of customers coming to their farm. But we are growing. We have had a lot of interest of people coming in and wanting information on our farmers markets. We do ask our farmers markets to register with our office every year. So we're getting ready to go into farmers market registration. And just to kind of also give you a little heads up, anybody that sells at a farmer's market, or if I've got any farmer's market managers on here, Community Farm Alliance, CFA, has just opened up their Double Dollars program, as well as their farmers market support group and the resiliency program for farmers market. So I have sent some information out. If you got any questions on it, let me know. But these are some funding and some grant opportunities for your farmers markets. So any questions, just holler at me. And then also Kate Hamilton and everything as well. Kate is our new farmers market coordinator for this. And so really excited about having Kate on board, and just so full of energy and working with the markets. So talking a little bit about the funding opportunities, we do have a program that's called Buy Local. Buy Local is a program where we work directly with our restaurants, our schools, our caterers, anybody that is in food service that could provide Buy Kentucky Proud products, local products directly from our producers. So what this is a program that either a restaurant, a chef, a member of the food world would have to be a member of the Buy Local Kentucky Proud. Once they're a member of that, then what they can do, they can actually go in and purchase from one of our Kentucky Proud producers, buy that food directly from them, and they can get a certain percent, up to 15% of what they spend back. I get questions a lot of time, and people will say, okay, and especially producers, well, that's good that they get money back, but I don't get money back. No, what you're getting is you're getting a customer to buy your products. And a lot of times in these restaurants, and a lot of times working with these chefs, they're going to put your name, or they're going to put your farm name on the menu. So that's publicity and everything for you. So you're going to see there's some numbers on there. So the total Buy Local Kentucky Proud purchases has been $14.7 million. And I mean, that has just been amazing. And we're getting more and more restaurants reaching out to us to where they want to source locally. Grace Reagan is the contact for that program. But if you are on, well, I'm tongue-tied. If you are already selling to a restaurant, to a school, to a chef, to a caterer, and they are not a member of this program, please tell them to reach out to us, because if they start to get money back, they may even buy more from you. So it's a great program. Our Farm to Fork is another grant opportunity that we have. Part of the Kentucky Proud program, we've been very lucky to offer this Farm to Fork grant. What this is, it's funding to have a dinner that will support local all the way around. You have a 501c3 charity that you are raising money for. You're purchasing items. We're not asking for all of your producers to donate their products. We're asking you to go out, if you're hosting a dinner, and purchase from these individual vendors and have that as part of the dinner. Many times we have folks that will go out and purchase the meat, they'll purchase the vegetables. And so it's really neat to have a dinner full of nothing but local grown products. A lot of times you will have these events and everything in a barn. They'll have them out on the farm. What that does is you bring the city, you bring the county, or you bring agriculture and the business world together. Kenny Amel's greenhouse from up in Greenup County, he is on his, I think, 4th Farm to Fork event. But this has been Greenup County. So it's been Greenup County Farm Bureau. It's been a partnership with 4-H, FFA, also the McConnell House, which is a tourism office. They raised over $41,000 last year for 4-H, FFA, and the McConnell House. But what this has done is it's opened up the door for the ag community and the business community to come together. So when Kenny is wanting to have some kind of special events on their farm, when they're wanting to have some kind of special events for the community, the business world just reaches out to him immediately and just says, what can we do? Not this year, but year before last, they had over 800 people that attended one of their Farm to Fork events. That's 800 people that you're talking agriculture to. You're getting them out on the farm. He had it at his greenhouse. It's going to build his business up, as well as promote. They had a farmer's market set up for all of their vendors. So it just opens up that world. So can't recommend that enough to apply. It is I forgot to mention, it is a $750 grant. $250 of that is promotion and advertising if you use the Kentucky Proud logo, and then $500 of that goes to purchasing directly from producers, local products. So the point of purchase, you will hear us sometimes call it the POP grant. It's a Kentucky Proud promotional grant. If you are a Kentucky Proud member, you have an option to apply for a 50-50 cost share grant. This will allow you to help with marketing, advertising, signage. We have producers that does vehicle wraps. This is some example of what some folks have done. It can help you with a website. A lot of times it's good when you go to the farmers markets or when you just have your own operation and you go and sell at the farmers market. Everybody has their own shirts. They have their own hats. It has your name on it. It gives you a logo. Just like when you go out and you see the golden arches when you're traveling down the road, you know that's McDonald's. And so once you start with this advertising, just like Rootbound Farms here, as well as, I don't know if anybody knows Tanya Cherry. Tanya Cherry's from Cherry Farms down in Allen County. And it's been amazing to see them because what they do, they've got a trailer, they've got beef and they've got pork that they sell. They sell at many different farmers markets. Taryn, they actually sell in your neck of the woods there at Barron County Farmers Market. But it gives them a running billboard. You can put your name on a billboard, but people has to look up to it. And if you've got your vehicle wrapped, if you've got a trailer wrapped, that's sitting in front of you at a stoplight, and chances are you're looking directly at it. So this is a great way for you to get some money back on advertising and everything that you've spent. So take advantage of that. We still have some funds and everything that's still available. Hopefully you can go in and get your application and everything in. If you need information on it, let me know. We do have information out on our website and everything as well. So I always try to put in resources and talking about some of our partnerships. K-Card I don't have included because I knew that Taryn and them was going to do such a great job covering everything that they do, but I did talk a little bit about what they do and how we highly recommend them. We do have a program that we partner with, Kentucky Farm Bureau Certified Farm Market Program. Fran McCall oversees this program, and they had a whole new look. They've got a brand new logo. The logo that you see is a metal sign that you can get if you're a member of this. There is a fee associated with joining this. It has been a reduced fee that you have to pay. But with that, you get all sorts of different membership benefits. They are going to promote your operation. If you're a member of their group, they're going to promote that. They're going to highlight you in the Farm Bureau magazine that goes out to well over 400,000 members. They're also going to give you educational sessions, trainings. The big thing is, though, networking with other producers across the state that may be doing the same thing that you're doing, or you can jump in and maybe come up with, maybe somebody's doing something in the western part of the state and you're in the eastern part of the state, and you can get a suggestion from them and bring that back home to your farming operation to make some differences. It does have their website and everything is linked there. The next one, and I think I've seen Bill McCloskey on here, and he may be talking later. So I won't cover a whole lot, but Kentucky Office of Agriculture Policy has been such a huge support to our farmers market. This is farmers market funds that if a market decides that they want to have a structure, having a permanent home for a farmers market is nice because you don't have to take the tents. Sometimes even those markets and everything provides a table, but those tents can be such a hassle, especially too if you're out in high winds or a rainstorm, and so it's always better when you've got a pavilion that you can actually call your own and it's your own home. So they have helped a lot of our markets. We have 73 counties with farmers markets that they have helped support, and that number has probably even went up since then. The CAPE Fund, so if you have done any kind of county incentive programs, I know here in Franklin County, our Cattlemen's Association oversees that. This is tobacco funds that money we're lucky here in Kentucky because that money goes back to our farmers, to where other states have taken that money and put into a general fund. This is money that is actually coming back into our pockets, to our farmers' pockets, for them to develop programs and to build structures, to build farm fences, to build online on-farm waterers, even hoop barns, and just so many other different things. But also KOAP, the funding that they also support so many of our programs: CFA, Grow Appalachia, K-Card, the Kentucky Horticulture Council, again, is things that I've mentioned, the Kentucky Proud program, and even the KSU Small Scale Farm Grant that Kevin's going to be talking about a little bit later. And like I said, I'll let Bill talk a little bit more. Kentucky State University, these are folks that I always try to mention, all of these resources, because I've always heard that you have to hear things 3 times before it really sinks in. But most of the time, these folks are giving you an opportunity to get money. So you want to take advantage of that. Kentucky State University has been great on doing educational sessions, partnering, I know, with our office as well as like tonight, partnering with K-Card and everybody. But they've got a program that's called the Third Thursday thing. They feed you, they train you, they educate you, just a wealth of information. They've got the mobile processing unit that Steve Skelton runs there, the small scale farm grant Kevin's going to be talking about, but they also put on conferences that is very accessible to folks to just, it helps you with your farming operation, but just a wealth of knowledge and a great resource to reach out to. Joni Nelson is one I normally work with. And if anybody has ever seen us, we always say we're partners in crime. Kevin and I are going to be tag teaming tonight, so I'll let him tell a little bit more about those programs. Kentucky Horticulture Council is another group, Cindy Fennison and her staff that we work with. They provide a lot of great resource. They provide you with information and also one of the things that we're getting ready to do, and it's so hard to believe it's 2024, but the Kentucky Fruit and Vegetable Conference. It felt like we just got back from that this year, but we do have the Kentucky Fruit and Vegetable Conference that is coming up. Make for sure that you get signed up before that. There is a little bit of a discount if you sign up early. If you register at the door, the price will go up, and it may be a possibility that you don't get to join in for lunch. But it is going to be held January the 3rd and the 4th. But January the 2nd is pre-conference. Pre-conference, we're doing a farmers market short course, and there's some other meetings as well. But that's absolutely free for the pre-course, but we still want you to register online, so we've got enough room and everything in the room for everybody to get in. We've got a lot of great resources and everything to use. And so make for sure it's going to be held in Bowling Green, but it is going to be January 3rd and 4th. January the 2nd is going to be the short course. It starts on Tuesday. So please make sure that you sign up for that. We also have, they also do a grower buyer meetup. And so one of the guys that used to work with me called it speed dating. And this is where if you decide that you want to go to a retail level, you can actually go to the buyer and talk to them and find out exactly what they need, what they expect. But they've also got a farm school program that they work with of getting our foods into the schools, but just a wealth of knowledge of the different opportunities and everything that the Hort Council offers. And then, of course, University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension. We've got one of their offices in all of our 120 counties. They have been such a huge support to our farmers markets as well, to our producers. I know a lot of times, and Terrence trying to tell me she's cutting me off, wrapping it up. Or did I do that? But just real quick, I'm almost done. UK provides market reports. So if you want a farmer's market price report, a produce auction price report, they also help out with the cooking demonstrations. And Center for Crop Diversification, highly recommend for you to go into that website. Two other things that I've got is the Raising Hope program. We have realized that our farmers go through a lot of stress. and it's stressful farming because you never know from the weather. You can't control the weather, but financial situations, and even with our dairy farms of losing their processors, and so they go through a lot of stress. And some of our farmers we have lost to farmer suicide, and so we realized that that's something that was a huge factor. And so that was kind of the idea behind Raising Hope, of just getting the information out, talking to our farmers, and telling them, it's okay. You've got somebody that you can talk to. We partner with the University of Louisville nursing students. We've even taken them out on the farm to look at the hazards, the stress, talk to the farmer. And it's made a difference in talking to this nursing students and just seeing the difference that makes. Another one that I've got that I know that many of our lady farmers, women farmers, has picked up ideas, networking sessions, and just trying to do something different on the farm. Kentucky Women in Agriculture. We just wrapped up our conference and everything back a few weeks ago there in Somerset. But just networking with each other and getting some ideas have really made a difference. We will be having a conference again next year. It's going to be in Lexington. Don't know the dates or anything just yet, but if you've got any questions or anything, just reach out to me. And my contact information is there, and I am done. Once you get me talking, I don't stop. So Taryn knows that. And I see some chat, but I don't know any questions I need to answer, or I can go through and look. What was it?
Takes me a minute to get myself unmuted.
Okay. I seen one that said, I think Kate Adams, and I don't know how, this is just the first one that popped up. What was the grant for the advertising materials? If you are a member of Kentucky Proud, it's called Kentucky Proud Promotional Grant. And Kate, my email is on there. If you'd like, I can send you an application and everything for that. Or you can go into our website, our Kentucky Department of Agriculture website, and I will put this in the chat, is www.kyagr.com. And then also our Kentucky Proud is www.kyproud.com. And you can find that information.
I'm going to put your all's website down here in the chat real quick. I put the Kentucky Proud, and Jamie put the POP grant link in there. So thank you for that. Yeah. And that was pretty much it. Did anybody have any other questions for Sharon?
They're probably saying, good grief, that woman can talk.
No. It's all great information. We're very, very appreciative. So I am going to, give me just a second. We're going to switch over. I'm going to take away your slide control privileges.
Wow, you took that away pretty quick.
And excuse me, I'm going to stop highlighting you.
History.
You're still on here. We're just gonna remove the spotlight. And next up, and still keep putting things in the chat if you all have questions. We will be happy to keep going. But next we're going to have Kevin with KSU. Kevin, this is the only slide that Joni sent us, so thank you for filling in. And I am going to spotlight you for everyone, but you don't have any slides to move forward, so you don't have to worry about that. So without further ado, everybody, Kevin with KSU.
Hi, I feel like we should have Sharon's slide up. She had more info on it about the programs that are going on. But I want to say hello. I want to thank everyone for attending this evening. I know that evening meetings can be long, and especially this time of year when the sun goes down early, right? So we're all getting that itch to want to sort of stay warm and snuggle up in the house. But I'm here to talk to you about a few of the programs that we have at Kentucky State, and how we connect in with everyone else's programs here. As you've kind of heard Sharon talk about, and you'll no doubt hear others talk about how the programs here overlap, how we sort of try to work together as a team. and how some folks cover different areas of it. And that's all just so that the producers here in Kentucky and the businesses here that are involved with agriculture can have the most support possible, right? So the folks at the Ag Development Board generously support all of these organizations through that tobacco money that they have, that there was foresight within the leadership of the state so many years ago to set the money aside specifically for development purposes to help diversify the agricultural economy here in Kentucky, because as you'll no doubt hear, that Kentucky is a place made of small farms. I don't want to give away the number, but it is tens of thousands of farms. Y'all, it is a large number. So we are the place of small farms here in the country. I'll go over some of the smaller programs that we have, and then I'll talk about the small scale farm grant at the end, because we are actually going through some changes with that. We were just recently refunded, and so we've got some category changes that I'll go over, and we'll have some updated documentation that I can share with Taryn, and she can get that sent out to you all just as soon as that's ready, and we're hoping to have that done by the end of the week. Don't hold my feet to the fire on that, but that's the plan, fingers crossed. If we can get it through the media and marketing team with their edit approvals, we'll get it out just as soon as possible. First program I wanted to chat with people about, and this is for folks across the state. We have a water testing program for producers. This is in an effort to get folks accustomed to the testing procedures that they might fall under underneath FSMA, that's the Food Safety Modernization Act. And so that there's just going to be some periodic testing over the course of 5 years. And this is just to get folks sort of ready for that. So anybody that has irrigation water that comes from a non-municipal source, we can test their water for free. There are 3 labs in the state currently. We have one in Hopkinsville, we have one in Frankfort, and we have one in Whitesburg. And so if folks are interested in getting their irrigation water tested, that can be either a water that's for plants for production purposes, and or if there's a need for livestock, for water for livestock, we can test that too. The second program, again, wanted to chat with folks about is the beginner beekeeping program that we have. That was brought up out of an arise of an increased number of folks wanting to get into beekeeping, and people's better understanding of the importance of pollinators on the farm and just in biodiversity in general. So we have a beginner beekeeping program where we can help folks get the basic equipment to receive nooks from local beekeepers when they're ready in the spring. That program will cover the cost to acquire 2 hives, some basic maintenance equipment, so the smoker and the hive tool. It'll cover the foundation and the frames, feeder, personal protective equipment, so the veil and the hat you need while you're doing your work. And then sort of the caveat there is that folks are members of a local beekeeper association, and then they have one of the veteran members of that association serve as a mentor. So if they've got somebody in that association that can help them get through the early stages of beekeeping, because if anybody's ever done that, I know this last year was my first year doing beekeeping, and I learned a lot this year. So it's good to have a mentor that you can ask questions and check with them, and just somebody who's going to check on you to say, hey, are you feeding at the right time? Are you treating at the right time? That kind of thing. And then folks will have to participate in some continuing education credits. And those would be very similar to the CAPE program or some of these other programs that people are involved in, so that we just want to make sure that people are getting the most up-to-date information on the the type of operations that they're getting involved in. And then the small scale farm grant, which is mostly what folks are interested in. That is a grant for up to $5,000 per project, and people are allowed to. We have a few different categories, and these are changing this next term. So I will speak about the new categories that we're going to have going forward, so that folks have a better understanding of that, and then they'll get the updated literature here as soon as we can get that out to them. So the value-added category has been one that we've had around for a long time. That is for people that are interested in changing raw agricultural products into something that is a value-added product. So that would be, wheat to bread, or jams from fresh fruits and vegetables, or scarves from wool, things of that nature. And a lot of people use that category to acquire a piece of equipment, or if they need help building a facility. So people do cold storage for our vegetable producers or some of our meat producers, or folks will do commercial kitchens so that they can have access to greater marketability for their products, right? And they're able to waste less, basically, and earn more from their effort. So we can help in a variety of ways with the value-added category. Organic agriculture category, that is for folks that are transitioning to organic or certified organic through the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. They are our local certifier in the state. So if you want to get certified, you should contact the folks at Oak, and they can get you the Organic Association of Kentucky, and they can get you set up with the organic transition trainer. And those folks can get you on the road to moving into organic if that's something that you're interested in doing. Under this category, we can help folks acquire equipment, production-related equipment. This is unique to the other categories. We can do implements for tractors, provided that they're organic tractors and they're using them on organic operations. We do not pay for tractors, but an implement for something like that could be eligible. Folks have gotten plastic layers, irrigation systems, gotten equipment to process soil amendments on the farm so that they can adequately add compost before the growing season, things of that nature. Let's see, the food insecure area category is going to be changing to the food systems resiliency. And we used to have some rules about being in a certain county or selling into a certain county, and we're going to be doing away with that. And simply, if you are a vendor at a farmer's market that can process EBT payments, so that's SNAP, that's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or WIC, that's the Women, Infant, and Children, or the senior vouchers. If you are a vendor at a market that can process those types of payments, or if you yourself can process those payments on the farm or at your roadside stand, because there's a lot of farmers that have elected to go through the process of becoming eligible to process SNAP payments on farm. And so we can support producers that are doing that, because we can be relatively assured that those folks are helping to increase the resiliency in our food system here in the Commonwealth. A new category is the Emerging Agricultural Technologies category. That category is the one that is the newest one that we have, and that is going to cover things like controlled environment agriculture, precision agriculture, and soil and compost for compost and soil amendments. So, and this category is a little tricky because we do have some rules on this. So this is where a more experienced producers can acquire technology that can improve the operations or the efficiencies on their farm. And so, for example, if someone who had a high tunnel was just coming to the end of their contract with the NRCS, they could apply with us to receive sensors and data loggers or decision support software to help them improve production operations within that high tunnel. Another example might be we have worked with folks to do microclimate stations in maple tree stands for maple syrup production. And so we were able to put these microclimate stations in people's sugar stands at various altitudes on their slopes and determine when they might be able to expect increased flow from their trees. So there's ways that you can help producers to improve their decision support in their production, in their operations. Agroforestry, that's a big one for folks out in Eastern Kentucky because a lot of people have more forested land than flat land, than traditional agriculture land, and that's considered marginal, but we want to ensure that people are retaining value and achieving, getting some value out of that land. So practices that would be considered underneath agroforestry of USDA definition. So we're talking about medicinal herbs. We're talking about the tree sap syrup, so the maple syrups, things like that. We're talking about small ruminants. So if people are going to have silvopasture, that type of thing, those are the types of things that would count under the agroforestry. And then farmer education. So we obviously, as a university and an academic institution, we want to make sure folks can get educated and they can get the information that they need. So people are eligible for up to $500 for educational opportunities, so like conferences or things like that. So some of these wonderful conferences that are coming up that I might mention here at the end of my talk, you can use the Small Scale Farm Grant to sort of subsidize the costs, right, or to help make them more affordable for you, so that you can become more knowledgeable in agriculture. Because the more knowledgeable farmers that we have, the better off we're all going to be, and this all works all the better. So that'll do for the Small Scale Farm Grant. I would like to mention the Third Thursday event that Sharon mentioned. That is a monthly thing that we have at the farm. It's a different topic every month. It's free to the public. Everyone gets a free lunch. Sometimes there's even giveaways. There's always lots of technical assistance and free conversation and ways to network and learn and do all sorts of stuff. So it's a good place to go for beginning farmers, and certainly folks that maybe are looking to diversify their operation and do something new. We have a compost conference going on this week at the Kentucky State University Farm, December 6th through the 8th. If you could still register, jump on. That should be a really good conference. It's in coordination with a lot of the folks that are doing the Climate Smart Agriculture initiatives. And so a lot of these things are overlapping. Here in Kentucky, we are very lucky. We have found ourselves at the, sort of at the nexus of a lot of these programs, and a lot of folks have gotten some funding for some farmers here. And you should take advantage of those programs, especially while we have them in place. Again, next year starting, Sharon mentioned the Fruit and Vegetable Conference. Winter obviously is conference season for agriculture. So, get your application into a Small Scale Farm Grant. We can help fund some of these. The Eastern Kentucky Farmer Conference is coming up in February. We've got Oak coming up not too long after that. So get out there and meet with folks and take advantage of these opportunities. And if folks have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I think that is going to be the total of what I got. I can't compete with Sharon. I don't have that kind of.
No one can. No one can.
No, she's the best. I know.
Hey now, guys. Just because I talk too much.
I stopped trying a while back. Sharon, you did put something in the chat that I wondered if you would just expand on just a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, I heard Kevin mention, he was talking about the SNAP program and all of that. When we had talked about, when I was mentioning the Double Dollars program and everything, a lot of times they want your folks to be able to take the WIC and the senior. We used to say vouchers, and now of course it's a card program. But also even if you do not take those and you sell at a farmer's market, you have an on-farm market, or your farmer's market wants to do this, we don't have a program, but there's a program through USDA, through the Food Nutritional Supplement Office, that is called SNAP, and it's food stamps. And so you can take the EBT, the food stamp card, at your farmer's market, at your on-farm market. But you've got to sign up first. You've got to sign up through USDA. It's an application process. It is a little lengthy to have to go through, but it's very simple. I've kind of got a guidelines, kind of steps of what you've got to go through and do. You can usually get approved pretty quick. It used to be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, but now when you fill the application out, you send everything in that you're supposed to send in. You can get pretty much approved by USDA within maybe 2 weeks, if not less, or less than that. Once you get approval, we have worked with the state of Kentucky SNAP office. LaShawna Watson has been absolutely a jewel to work with. And we started talking about the Market Link program, which was a few years ago, of trying to get our markets to take SNAP, and even some of our individual producers. There was a fee associated with that, and they never could set a rhyme or reason of what they charged. Some members didn't get charged anything. Some was charged $14.95 a month. Some was charged $29.95 a month. So in order to get the SNAP program, I said, we've got to do better. We've got to figure out something different. So the state SNAP office is working with a company that's called FIS, and you can get free EBT equipment. It is leased. It's not an owned piece of equipment, because what happens is, if you own the equipment, sometimes equipment dies. And if you replace it, you're looking at $1,000, $1,500, if not more, to have to replace it. It will not accept debit and credit cards. It will only accept the SNAP card. But this gives you a benefit to customers that you may not have. And even with COVID, a lot of kids got PEBT cards, which was a pandemic EBT card. And they started turning to our producers on the farm, our on-farm markets, to a lot of our meat producers, because a lot of times it was all kids got that if they were able to get free lunch. So that built some of our SNAP program and everything up for our customers. But we can get you equipment that is a free leased piece of equipment. There's no fee or anything associated with that. It's just a contract that the state SNAP office has with this company, and they can offer that machine and everything for our folks. So it gives them an opportunity to reach out to other customers, but you do have to market. You have to market it, and you have to also market yourself and tell folks that, you know, you're accepting EBT. So.
And Kevin, we've got some questions about the composting conference. I see you put the link in there, but do you mind to talk a little bit more about that?
I was actually trying to find the thing in the info in my email, and I can send that along. They have got some, and I'm gonna just murder this because I don't have the information. They have got some fancy folks coming to talk about compost. So this is something that was put together through the funding through the Climate Smart Agriculture. So they have got people that are doing specifically for soil health, and a lot of that is built under there. So I wish I could give you more information. I will find that a flyer that I had. I was trying to Google it, and for some reason I can't find it at the moment. But it is the December 6th through the 8th at the farm, and that is 1511 Mills Lane in Frankfort. So that's not the main campus, but that is the KSU Harold Benson Farm.
Perfect.
Sorry, I wish I had more info on that. I'm gonna keep looking, see if I can find a link for you all to put in the thing before the meeting's over.
Perfect. I appreciate that. So we'll get some more information on that as we're going through the evening. All right, I'm going to take just a second.
I guess the last one with the, I have one. The RFSI grant for producers accept SNAP. No, that's not the RFSI grant. That's open to all folks. That might have been a direct message to me, but whoever that was, there you go. Got it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. And as we're going along, as y'all have questions, don't be shy, put those in the chat. We'll keep on going. Next, we have the one, the only Mr. Bill McCloskey. And I have to look through the list real quick to give you slide control, Bill. So give me just a second to find your name. All right, so you should have slide control, and I'm going to spotlight you for everybody. And all right, so you should be good to go to advance those slides forward as you need to. And take it away, Bill.
All right, well, greetings, everybody, from Frankfurt. And yeah, our office is the office that writes all the checks for the wonderful Sharon Spencer to make her wonderful she is. And Kevin looked good as well. So this could also be the Show Me the Money show. We've been fortunate in Kentucky to have we've had the previous speakers mention tobacco money. And so this all came about in 1998. If you have trouble sleeping tonight, Google Master Settlement Agreement 1998. You find out the state sued cigarette companies for misrepresenting what was in the addictive component. Nicotine was in the cigarettes. Back then, if you remember, they were still advertising the Marlboro Man, Virginia Slims. And so the basis of the lawsuit was because the states were picking up a lot of the illnesses associated with the people that were smoking. So the cigarette companies have agreed to pay the states into perpetuity. And as our speakers mentioned earlier, Kentucky's been fortunate. If you're looking for another reason to say, hey, I'm glad I live in Kentucky, this is one more reason, because every state gets master settlement agreement payment. Only 3 states are invested in agriculture. That's Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina. And as Sharon mentioned, other states are using the balanced budget. So the money comes in out of the Master Settlement Agreement 1998. And then the General Assembly says, let's start putting half of it into agriculture and see if we can diversify away from tobacco into other enterprises like food production, which that sounds like a lot of you all are involved here. Equated Ag Development Board. We were part of the governor's office's third bullet point. In 2021, we were part of the governor's office for 20 years, and then they moved us over to Department of Agriculture. And then the fourth bullet just talks about what our Ag Development Board is looking for as far as investing these funds. We'll get into a little bit. I always like to show this pie chart here from my good friend Dr. Will Snell. It shows where we were and where we are today. So you can see back in the 99, we were about a $4 billion economy. So actually it says 3.4 to 4 billion 1990. Tobacco was our main commodity. Fast forward to 2022, we've doubled our cash receipts to 8 billion, and you can see where we made up the difference: corn, soybeans, poultry mostly. I'm waiting to see when Cindy Finnison or Hort Council can crack the pie chart. So next time you're talking to Cindy, say, Bill's looking forward to when you finally make the pie chart here with horticulture production. I'm sure she'll have something to say about that. So in my 21 years, Sharon, hanging around in Frankfurt, in politicians, I've learned to take credit for everything. So we like taking credit for this doubling of our cash receipts because of the tobacco money that we've invested in 20 years, $750 million into different programs and projects to grow our agriculture economy. So I'd like to show that slide. And then we talk about the money coming in. So every year, April the 15th, we cross our fingers and we hope the cigarette companies honor their contract and send all the states, not just Kentucky, but all the states, their tobacco money based on national cigarette sales. So you see that $118 million figure at the top. So that's what we received last April. We'll get the next payment here next April. That means I get to work another year and we get to fund some more projects. So some money comes off the top. The General Assembly and infinite wisdom now is taking off some money to pay for water and sewer projects. So I don't think anybody can argue that all our Kentucky constituents have access to clean water and sanitary conditions. So that gets us into, now we can start talking about 50% going into agriculture. Half goes over to healthcare and early childhood, and then we get 50 million in agriculture, farm to food banks, money used to buy produce seconds. Maybe some of you all sell to the farm food banks, so they can use this money to purchase seconds and distribute it through their network to less fortunate. Raising Hope, Sharon mentioned, $500,000 help support that, and conservation districts get 3.4 to help their direct aid and environmental cost share. Then we talk about what actually we get to spend in our office and support all the different projects and organizations that you all interact with. Some of them have been mentioned, but so for this year, we got 45.5, and then approximately 13 goes to the county, 16.2, 85% of that will get invested in the Cape County Agriculture Investment Program. And then the $29 million, that's what we use to fund the different programs and projects that Kevin and Sharon have talked about. And then the Ag Finance loan program, we allocate some money. So we've got a nice little bank here of $125 million. So that's as big as some community banks in the state. So the Ag Development Board, we've got 27 board members between the Ag Development Board and Ag Finance, 16 on the Ag Development Board. So here's their investment philosophy. They're just looking for projects. We, anytime we bring in a new employee, we tell them we're in the application taking business. So that's what I'm going to share with you tonight. We're in the application taking business. You can submit an application to Ag Development Board. Here's what the board's looking at: projects that impact net farm incomes, create markets. If you've got a project to create markets for you and other farmers, a good chance you might be able to access some grant money. If it's just for you individually, it's probably going to be a loan program. This is the different programs that we have out of our office. As I mentioned, the Cape program, we now can say all 120 counties have run a Cape, invested county money in the Cape program. Again, about 85% of the $16 million allocated to the counties this year will be invested in cost share program for production, agriculture. And then we've got some other programs used: Next Generation Dead Animal Shared Use Equipment, Food Safety and Efficiency Incentive Program, Large Food Animal Veterinary Incentives, so veterinarians can access funds for a grant to help support their large animal practitioner services. We've got an on-farm energy program. Half the cost, up to $10,000, is eligible if you're doing a project on your farm. If you're purchasing equipment or technology, increases energy savings. And then projects are eligible up to $1 million. That seems to be half. Up to $1 million is where the board is capping their support. That can be grants and combination grants and loans. Okay, so let me go back there. State. So I talked about the energy program, Large Food Animal Veterinarian. I've talked about that program, which veterinarians can apply for up to $100,000 as a grant, and food safety and efficiency incentive. So this is a fairly new program. They came out of the investments we made during COVID to 43. We identified 80 of the 80 meat processors in the state. And Sharon mentioned earlier about consumers were looking to buy direct from consumer marketing programs. And if you're one of those producers doing direct to consumer marketing program, you need access to a meat processor. And they were there was waiting periods up to 6 months to a year. So we were able to, the Ag Development Board, provide grants and some loans for 43 of the 80 meat processors that we identified in the state. And so our capacity, we might be a little bit over capacity on meat processing right now. You shouldn't have a waiting time if you call your local meat processor. My point we'll make here is we're going to concentrate on not increasing harvest capacity, but food safety and efficiency incentive programs. So you can see our processors of meat, or could be vegetables. They're working with a consultant. They're going to be eligible for a grant up to $3,750, or 75% of the cost of the program. Again, emphasizing food safety going forward. And then we've talked about the county programs as different programs they can commit They're county funds, so we're up to 11 different investment areas. So you can go to our website, Kentucky Office of Ag Policy, and give you all the details regarding what is eligible. Most of the CAPE programs that are administered in the state up to this point are doing 50-50, maximum 5,000, spend 10, get 5,000 reimbursement. For 2024, the board has identified certain categories, these lab investment areas, that are going to be eligible for 75% reimbursement or 50% reimbursement, or maybe just 25. So this is a major change from what we started at CAPE in 2009. Here we are going into 2024. Again, they're going to incentivize certain investments by being eligible for 75% reimbursement on specific items. Okay, and this just talks about the maximum per CAPE is 5,000, so the medium is 3,500. As county council, so each county has a county council of 9 people, 2 FSA, 2 conservation, 2 extension, and then 3 at large. So those 9 people decide on where the county money gets invested. Most of them are conservation districts. We've got cattlemen's and some other organizations, ad districts, and then shows the difference in the option to prorate or set a dollar amount. Okay, projects. I mentioned earlier, applicants can make a request up to half the cost of the project, probably be capped at $1 million. The board might look at grants and loans on a project. A farmer's market pavilions. I guess I want to go back here. Let me see, talk about different projects we funded. So I started a list here while Sharon was speaking. The different organizations that we've funded to help support food production. I think that's probably going to be, at this point, I'd say that's our greatest potential for growth in the state. So it's been, I mentioned CAPE Horticulture Council, funded with our funds, K-Card, Oak, Organic Association Kentucky, UK Food Connection. I think we've got a representative on here. Farmers markets, over 70 farmers markets. Grow Appalachia, funded out of our office. Kentucky Highland Investment Corporation, they do 1% loans at $7,500. Creation Gardens, Community Farm Alliance, Kentucky Proud, Kentucky State University Small Grants. And of course, couldn't do all that without the extension that I think Kevin mentioned as well. So I just gave you a rundown, at least 10 different organizations that are out there to either provide you technical assistance or grants, and they're funded under this Ag Development Fund project application. I call it the make application, come present to the Shark Tank. Okay, so farmers market, I've talked a little bit about that. Here's farmers market, Owensboro example. Here's a meat processor, and it's one of the 43 that we funded, anywhere from $20,000 to buy a new meat grinder to a couple $1 million to start a new. So you should have access if you're in the livestock business and establishing or developing, expanding a meat processing direct-to-consumer marketing program. You should have access to a meat processor within an hour of your farm as a result of the investments we've made. Talking ag finance, Kentucky Ag Finance Corporation, I mentioned that. We approved over 1,400 loans, $209 million. So money's coming back in. At this point, we've got about 800 loans on the books, and we're payments coming in about $1 million a month that we can loan back out. See the different examples of the loans that we have, anywhere from infrastructure loan, beginning farmer, ag process, Owensboro grain, veterinarians we've talked about, and then a welding project up in northern Kentucky. So how's our loan program work, you as a farmer or producer, you go to your lender. You really don't have to fill out any paperwork. The way we've streamlined the process is use a farmer, go talk to your primary lender. If they're willing to help finance the project, they can make application on your behalf to Kentucky Ag Finance Corporation to benefit of utilizing our program. Obviously is the 2.75% interest rate, pretty attractive right now when you're seeing 8 and 9% loans. So benefit, low interest rate, no payment penalties. You use your existing lender, and we'll do half of the project cost up to $250. Let's see if I can get back to my, okay, looking too fast. Okay. And you can begin the project the day after you submit an application to our office, all expenses incurred. I mentioned a pretty simple application process. Your lender does all the work on your behalf. We've got flexible repayment terms working with our lender. Obviously, if you get a lower interest rate, that's going to help your cash flow. We've got different programs from beginning farmer to infrastructure to the deal program, diversification through our agribusiness, entrepreneur agribusiness. And then your payments are made to the lender, and then they forward the lender to us. One thing on the Karen talking about the business plan. The business plan can also be used as a loan proposal. When you go talk to your lender, you got that business plan that helps expedite your loan request that you may be looking to secure financing. All right, I think that wraps up my. Not as long as the wonderful Sharon Spencer, but we can write some checks.
Awesome. And I think that quite a few of the questions that were posed were kind of answered. However, there was a person who asked about CAPE. Could you talk a little bit about CAPE for us?
Okay, well, I mentioned of the county allocation to the counties, about 85% gets invested in the CAPE program, County Agriculture Investment Program, and each county has funds. It can vary from 30,000 to 400,000 depending on your Burley tobacco history. So allocation of the county. So you can contact your extension agent, and most likely he's going to be able to tell you who the entity is that's administering the CAPE program in your county, and that's the entity that you would make application to. Now, the application period will vary from county to county. It's usually a 30-day window at different times of the year, depending on the county. For example, Hardin County is taking applications right now. Their deadline is December the 15th, and they'll probably have 6-7 months to implement the program. Breckenridge County, they always start theirs in January and finish up by December. I would suggest that you, again, contact your ag natural resource agent in your county. Make sure you're on the newsletter, because that's one of the ways that the CAPE is advertised in a county, is through the extension agent's newsletter to say, hey, signups are starting, or 3 to 4 week sign up period, and that alerts you to the application availability or period. Does that answer the question?
I believe so. All right. Do you all have any other questions for Bill or for Sharon? I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick. And I'm going to remove Bill's spotlight. There we go. All right, so back to normal. All right, do y'all have any other final questions or anything that we can help answer? I am going to put a couple of things in the chat. This is K-Cards information. This is the ability to register for our newsletters, things like that. and our Facebook page and our main website. And we are recording this. So once that second session is over, so again, there's that Thursday session where it's going to have a different slot of speakers in there. And once that session is over, we'll kind of make sure that the link is all uploaded and looks good and everything. And then we will be sending that out to everybody. But please feel free, if you all have questions, reach out to us. We're here to help. But otherwise, you'll use the same link on Thursday to register or to sign on. And I will see you all then. Hang around if you have questions, but otherwise, we will see you all on Thursday. I'm going to stop recording now.